My ex-husband didn't just walk out on me while I was pregnant. He weaponized my own mother against me in court, leaving me utterly alone and financially ruined. But when my son turned 1, a shocking twist unfolded that would change everything. Honestly, the last couple of years, they've been a blur of pure struggle. Just now, I'm finally finding my feet again, and it's been incredibly difficult without any real support. And I lay the blame squarely on my ex-husband, Ezra. He utterly ruined my life. We were together for 5 years total, 2 dating, 3 married. He left me last year in my second trimester. We met at 22, just starting out at the same company. Everything was great while we were dating. We fell in love, got married. That's when things started to unravel. He saw that ring on my finger, saw my commitment, and took me completely for granted.
First, he convinced me to quit my job.
To be a stay-at-home wife, take care of the house. I was hesitant. I'd watched my own mom do it, but my dad was always so respectful. Ezra, though, he was nothing like my father. Within 6 months, money became a huge problem. We were both in sales, commission-based, and he wasn't doing well. I tried to talk to him about me going back to work, but his ego got in the way. He accused me of not trusting him, of questioning his ability to provide. Stick to your work around the house, he'd snap, and don't worry about the money. The fights were brutal, especially because we were living off my savings way more than I ever wanted. But after every single argument, he'd apologize. He'd manipulate me emotionally, and because I loved him and desperately wanted it to work, I'd forgive him. It became this exhausting cycle of disrespect, apologies, and my faith. I truly believed I could make it work. But even all that wasn't enough to keep him. He filed for divorce. And to avoid paying a single cent of alimony, he went to extreme lengths to paint me as a cheater. Last year, when I was about 10 weeks pregnant, my high school ex-boyfriend, David, reached out. He wanted to meet for coffee. Now, David and I had history. Big history. We started dating at 13, together for 6 years before we mutually broke up in college. Long distance just wasn't working. We ended things amicably, drifted apart. Ezra knew all about David. He never had an issue with him. So when I asked if I could meet David for coffee, he agreed, no complaints. David had been living in New Zealand, rarely visited home. This was a proper vacation, and he wanted to catch up for old time's sake. I even showed Ezra the message. It was completely platonic. But in court, Ezra twisted everything. He made it sound like I'd always been secretly in love with David, that our coffee meeting was just the first of many illicit rendezvous. He had no real evidence, just claimed he'd seen us holding hands, but was too horrified to take a picture. And the worst part? He got a couple of our mutual friends to lie, to testify against me. But the final crushing blow? My own mother. She believed Ezra. She testified against me. She claimed it was totally believable. I was having an affair, that I'd always had a soft spot for David, and that Ezra would never do anything to hurt me. She said I was lying. My own mother. When the divorce was finalized, I got no alimony. Ezra successfully terminated his parental rights. A blessing in disguise, honestly. I wouldn't want someone like him in my son's life anyway. I got child support, but it was a pittance. And my mother? She cut me off completely. I couldn't just cry over spilled milk. I was pregnant, then a new mom. I had to survive. Nobody would hire me while I was heavily pregnant and going through a messy divorce. My amazing friend, the one who put me in touch with a lawyer and even paid for her, let me live with her. Within a month of my son's birth, I got a job. It didn't pay much. I couldn't move out of my friend's place for a while. But eventually I saved enough, got a small apartment. Every single day was a struggle, juggling work and motherhood. The guilt of leaving my son with others, it was immense. But I had to do it. To make up for that, I decided to splurge on his first birthday party. It was coming up in a week. Invitations went out to my friends, the family who actually helped me, and some coworkers. It would be expensive, but I just started a new, better-paying job. I was even starting to repay my debts. My son deserved this. Then my mom found out. She wasn't invited. She unblocked me on social media. completely skipping an apology, and went straight to entitlement. "How dare you not invite me?" she demanded. "I'm his grandmother. You're alienating my grandchild." She said she wanted to be actively involved, that she wouldn't tolerate my narcissistic, selfish behavior anymore. My jaw dropped. The audacity. This woman, who helped Ezra deny me alimony, who cut me off, who abandoned me and her grandchild, was now demanding a seat at the table? I still remembered her words when I tried to confront her after her testimony. "I want nothing to do with you, or your fatherless son. You're a cheater, and I owe you no explanation."
She blocked me.
And now she had the nerve to call me narcissistic? I snapped. I messaged her back, probably too quickly. "You don't deserve to be a part of my life or my son's," I wrote. "You're a huge part of why we've struggled." Then I blocked her. But she didn't stop. She started contacting all my friends, the family members who had supported me, even old school acquaintances. She told them she wanted me to know she was sorry, that she wanted one chance to explain. But I didn't want to hear it. What possible explanation could justify destroying your own daughter's life? My mother. I didn't want to forgive her. I didn't even want to hear her excuses. It felt cold, but it felt right. I decided not to budge. I thought long and hard, and I couldn't conjure up a single explanation that would make me forgive her. I told everyone she contacted to block her, to stay out of it. I kept myself busy, focused on my son, pushed everything else down. Therapy wasn't an option financially or time-wise. I just kept going. Then, 2 months after my son's birthday, I finally took some time off to attend my cousin's engagement with my son. And there she was. My mother. I hadn't seen her in over a year. I was shocked. I tried to ignore her. For an hour, we didn't speak. Then she approached me. Small talk. She seemed genuinely happy to see my son. Tried to interact, but he just hid behind me. I didn't want to make a scene, so I was polite. Told her a little about my job, about my son. She asked if I'd grab lunch with her. Again, a lot to say. "I'm glad you're trying to make amends," I told her firmly. "But I don't want that for myself right now." I walked away. And, surprisingly, she respected it. She didn't bother me again at the party. But her words stuck. A lot to say. I probably wouldn't forgive her, but the curiosity it gnawed at me. My friends said maybe it would bring closure. So, I took a leap. I unblocked her, messaged her, and set up a lunch. Alone. My son wasn't coming. I didn't want her to get attached if I decided I couldn't forgive her. Lunch was a whirlwind. The moment we sat down, she thanked me for coming, then launched into it. Last year, Ezra had visited her. He'd shown her a slew of fake screenshots, pictures, a whole fabricated story that I was cheating with David. He even had a fake message from David, supposedly bragging about how we'd take Ezra's money and run off together. Ezra told my mom he didn't use this in court because he still loved me and didn't want to humiliate me more. But I know the truth. It was all photoshopped, total lies, and any expert would have seen right through it. But for my mom, it was enough. It convinced her. She was furious at me, believing I was a cheater. When she heard about my son's first birthday, she was even more upset. She thought she was losing time with her grandson because of my mistakes. That's why she'd been so entitled in her first message to me. But then, my angry reply made her doubt. She finally reached out to David. He showed her proof that he'd never spoken to Ezra. That's when it clicked. Ezra had lied. She tried to contact him, but he hung up on her the moment she started asking questions. She realized her colossal mistake. That's when she started trying to reach me through everyone else. By then, it was too late. I was done. She understood. She said if she were in my shoes, she probably wouldn't want to hear herself out either. It was a huge betrayal. But she also told me she wanted me to know the truth because she could finally help me. We could go back to court. Ezra only got out of alimony by accusing me of cheating and lying. We had grounds now. With her help, we could get that alimony. It was a lot. I didn't know how to feel. I needed time. All these emotions, this heavy truth. I was so used to being mad at her. Could I forgive her? Should I? Was there even a point to going back to court? I had no answers. I just needed to process. 6 months later, I had my answer. We went back to court. This time, my mom was on my side. I even reached out to Ezra's friends who testified against me the first time. He'd manipulated them, too. So I played this struggling single mother card. Not a card, really just the raw, painful truth. A lot of them felt guilty, and they agreed to testify in my favor. When I told Ezra, I offered him a chance to settle out of court if he just coughed up the money he owed me. He knew he was trapped. He agreed. Now I receive checks every month until I remarry. And speaking of that, David reached out to me. He apologized for not telling me sooner when my mom first contacted him. He said it was just too awkward. We weren't on speaking terms during the divorce. But since then, we've never stopped talking. We're figuring things out, but I'm definitely developing feelings for him again. And he confessed he never really fell out of love with me, which is why he hasn't been serious with anyone else. He lives in New Zealand, keeps trying to get me to visit. I just might. My mom and we're working things out. It's going well. Honestly, I'm just figuring things out for myself right now. I don't have all the answers, but I know I'm loved. My son is my priority, always. Have you ever faced such a profound betrayal from a loved one? How did you find the strength to pick yourself up? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.